All right, good afternoon, traders. Hopefully, everyone is having a great weekend so far. Now, before I get into the show, I really do want to thank all my subscribers. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Now, if you're not a subscriber and you happen to be watching the show, go ahead and do so. I really do think you're going to get a lot of valuable information from my technical analysis. All right, with that, as you know, today is Sunday. We are going to go over last Sunday's picks, see how well they performed. We are going to go over the one stock one of our subscribers had asked me to go over, and then I will give you those three stocks that I think are technically setting up real nicely going into tomorrow. All right, with that, let's check out the SPY. All right, so guys, as you know, we made that nice 52-week high in the SPY right back here on the 17th. Since then, we had come back here, tested that 50-day moving average. It looked like we were going to make this really nice, quick V-shaped recovery, but unfortunately, you know what, we are retesting this 50-day moving average again right down here. So again, for Monday, for tomorrow, let's see how we gap. Now, if we could gap above this, hopefully we'll see a replay of back here on the 28th of January where we retested it. We tested, then retested, and then made that nice recovery. Hopefully the same thing happens. So, again, let's see how we gap. If we can gap higher, looks like everything will be a repeat of last month's action. If not, if we start gapping lower, I may have to put a Fibonacci retracement study on this chart to see where that next level of support is. But for right now, let's just kind of be positive. Hopefully, if we can gap higher and then continue to move higher. Now, again, watch out for tomorrow. See how we gap. Now, if we gap lower, don't do anything. Don't do any trading unless you want to get on that short side, because once we start breaking below this 50-day moving average, this hasn't happened since late October right here. And if that were to happen, there's a high probability this lower Bollinger Band right down here is going to get into play. And I wouldn't want anybody, trying to play anything without either a Fibonacci retracement study or on there or without a Bollinger Band study on there as well. Okay, so be very careful to see how things open up on Monday. All right, with that, let's check out the three stocks that I did recommend from last Sunday's show. First one was BlackBerry BB. So if you remember from last Sunday's show, I said let's get long above $11.19. Unfortunately, it did trigger on Monday, and then it did obviously closed down the next day on that bad market day. It did recover a little bit, but I did get out. It did close below that 50-day moving average, so I did take an 80-cent loss on BlackBerry. Okay, 80-cent loss on BlackBerry. Next stock that I did recommend was RXT. RXT right down here. All right, so if you remember, I said on last Sunday's show, we had touched this 50-day moving average, and let's see what happens. Let's see how we gap. We did gap a little higher. We never took out that first 30-minute candle. That first 30-minute time frame on Monday was the high. We could never get above that. It did sell off, did close that 50-day moving average, so it never triggered. But now going forward, look, guys, we had this whole week, right? This whole week of kind of chopping right around here, basing real nicely, try to hit that high from last Monday a few times of 2143. It tested it like 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Now again, if we can break above that 2150 area, I'm going to get long the stock. We'll be above that 50-day moving average. We'll be really close to this value area high. I will get long and then use that 50-day moving average going forward. Okay, so RXT, you could still look at it. You could still put it on your watch list. Again, see if you can get above 2150, get long, and then use that 50-day moving average as your stop price. That is RXT. But it was a no play. All right, next stock in the queue, the last one is APHA. If you remember from last week's show, I did say we had that really nice gap, and that gap had held real nicely, right? But look what happened, guys. It never triggered that price of $20.57, which was the high from Friday. It never got above that, so it was a no play. And then luckily, it was a no play because the next day on Tuesday, it did gap lower. It tried to fight its way back on that 10-day moving average, but it looks like right now because of Monday's close and then Tuesday's close. I'm sorry, Wednesday's close. Thursday's close and Friday's close only got to that 10 SMA. So now it looks like the path of least resistance is going to be lower. Look, barring any news, it does look it's going to go lower. But again, we can get a nice little news event. It gets above this 10-day moving average right here, and then all bets are off. This is going to go higher. But right now, as things look, It looks like the path of least resistance is lower. So again, watch this very carefully. If you're in the name, we did close near the lows of the day. So if you are in the name, hopefully we can get a nice little gap above this midpoint Bollinger Band or that 10 right here, and it will continue to go higher. If we don't, and we start taking out Friday's low tomorrow, this is probably going a lot lower. Okay, guys, that is APHA. All right, with that, let's go check out the one stock one of our subscribers, Tim, had asked me about, and it's going to be THCB, so Tuscan Holdings right here. So THCB is a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company. They merged with a company called Microvast. They're in that EV battery space, very hot sector right now. We made that 52-week high up here of 25.20. We've come all the way back down. Tested this lower Bollinger Band right here. I do like the fact that the 10 is above the 50, 50 is way above that 200. So again, going forward, if we can get above Friday's high on Monday and then clearly get above this 50-day moving average, I think there's going to be a high probability that we're going to continue to go higher. If you want to get long, I'd get long above 1687 and then clearly use Friday's low right down here at 15 bucks, let's say, as your stop price. Okay, Tim, that's how I would play it. Be very careful on this one. I think I don't know where they are in their cycle of actually starting production on their batteries, but they have, I think, a $3 billion market cap, if I'm not mistaken. So they're, it's pretty rich right now. All right, THCB. Okay, three stocks that look good going into tomorrow. First one's going to be NET. This is one that we have played in the past. Really like this name, NET. Let's bring it up on the chart. Cloudflare right here. So after that 52-week high right back here and that earnings, it did gap down. It looks like it wants to go down. We did have that 10 SMA cross that 50-day moving average. One thing I do like about this chart is the fact that we've touched right down here, this lower Bollinger Band, but since that touch right here, and we've had some really bad market days, it's held really well. So again, going into tomorrow, I'm looking for a breakout above Friday's high, which happens to be 74.29. So put an alert at 7:30. If we can get above 7:30, I am going to be long the name and then clearly use this low of Friday as my stop price, which happens to be $7.86. Okay, so that's a nice risk reward setup of about $3. All right, next stock on the list that looks really good going forward is ZG. All right, so Zillow right here. If we take a look at Zillow, ever since that 10, first of all, look guys, that 10 moving average is above the 50, 50 is above that 200-day moving average. Everything is set up real nicely. We are in this new value area high right here, and ever since when that 10 broke above that 50-day moving average, we've tested that 50-day moving average one time. We've held nicely, made a new 52-week high. Now it looks like we're doing a repeat of that, made that 52-week high. We're right here at this 50-day moving average, right down, well, we're above it, but we're right not too far from it. So again, for Monday, let's see if we could take out the high from Friday, which happens to be 170, 160. If we can get above that, use this 50-day moving average going forward as your stop price, okay? That is ZG Zillow Group. Get long above Friday's high. Last stock on the list that looks really good going forward is RKT right here. We had a really nice day on that earnings right here. We had the earnings. It did gap up, but guys, take a look. It sold off the remainder of the day, right? So the nice thing is right here, we could probably get this a little bit cheaper. Watch that on this one on RKT. Watch that first 30-minute time frame. On this one, we need to take out that first 30-minute time frame on the upside in order to get long the name. If we get long, then clearly you're gonna need this a little bit of room, not too much room. Use this 50-day moving average going forward as your stop price. Okay, guys, RKT. Be a buyer above that first 30-minute candle, and then again use this 50-day moving average right down here. Let's call it at $21 as your stop price. All right, guys. All right, thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. My name is Eric. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to get right back to you with any questions you may have. Now, again, I do want to thank all my subscribers. Time is money, and I really appreciate you guys spending that time with me. Hopefully, you're getting a lot of valuable information, and if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and do so. Check out my past my past picks, I think you'll be really impressed on how well we've performed. All right, guys, have a great remainder of the weekend. We will see you on Wednesday, and remember, trade smart and be safe.